What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers, Luka Doncic, is cleared to play. He is expected to play later today against Great Britain. The game starts, I believe, at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then, we'll see how that kind of plays out. Obviously, Luka had that scare, and that is something that kind of goes into the concerns with him playing in Eurobasket. Now, look, I've talked about it, right? Like, people need to understand that this means the world to him, right? I mean, he's representing his country, right? Like, he's not playing at some local rec league. He's not, not playing in like a Drew League tournament or something like that where it's like, dude, come on, right? Like, no, he's playing and representing his country. It's why guys like him and Jokic and Giannis and everybody keeps doing what they're doing. It's why, players for, the US go and play in FIBA and the Olympics and all that stuff, because you get that flag on the back, you get that jersey that has your country's name on it. You're not just representing a city or, an organization. You're representing an entire country, right? So I don't blame Luka for wanting to keep playing. And even, through the injury scare, which was graded a knee contusion, right? I don't blame him for wanting to kind of jump back into it and kind of continue to play. Now, from Laker fans and a Laker organizational standpoint, that I get the concerns of like, dude, right? Even there's a part of me that's even like, come on, Luka, like, why don't you just take this time off, right? Let's worry about it next go around, right? Like this time, a little rocky, right? And then from the Lakers organizational standpoint, it's like, dude, we're investing like $500 million into you. We kind of need you to be healthy to, play the season. It's why organizations, period, aren't like huge fans of their stars going to go play in, European leagues or anything like that in the offseason. It's good for the players to kind of get their reps and to get in a rhythm, jumping into training camp and stuff like that. But, from an organization that's paying and ponying up all the money, right, there is a level of risk. So I get it from both sides. And, for me personally, I don't want him. I'm hoping that Slovenia just kind of gets ran through the first couple games. This is still an exhibition game. I would have liked him to sit out this exhibition game. And then if he wants to play the main game, right, kind of get because we're like 9 days, the 28th, August 28th is when the Slovenia will play their first actual meaningful game. So to me, it's kind of like, can you just like sit out the exhibition games, kind of rest that contusion, right? Because that's what you need. You need, elevate your leg, put some ice on it, kind of get some rest. And then, hopefully that gives you about 9 days, more than that. It'd be almost 2 weeks from the time that he actually got the injury to now going and playing in that meaningful game. I would personally prefer that. Also, I'm hoping that they kind of just lose immediately, like right out the gate in the regular games and the games that actually matter. So that way, because the problem is the more he goes, right, the more risk and whatnot it happens. And, knock on wood, you don't want to see that happen to anybody. I don't want to see any NBA players injuries, period. But, the NBA, we're getting ready for the NBA season. Not just that, but I also don't want to see Luka go from like playing heavy games in Eurobasket to now jumping into training camp. And, it's a lot of wear and tear. I'd like him to have some rest in between. It'd be nice if he has, a couple weeks I'm sure he's still going to be getting reps and shots and stuff like that up, but that's not the same thing as him actually playing games, right? But again, there's always risk, right? I mean, you see these guys playing, in the Summit, and, some of them will play in like the Drew League and stuff like that, or, the J crossover, right? Like you'll see these guys playing in those, and anytime, whether you're, playing pickup at your local park or at the YMCA or something like that, anytime you step on a basketball court, you're going to get hurt. Or you run the risk of getting hurt. Not that you're going to get hurt, that you run the risk, right? Even them just, working and shoot around and stuff like that. We've seen guys get hurt and shoot around. We've seen guys get hurt in the offseason. You just land the wrong way. You're just getting shots up. You're shooting 1,000 shots. For whatever reason, you just kind of, land awkwardly. And it's just, we've seen things like that happen. So, these are athletes. There's always going to be a level of risk, a level of injuries, but it's tough when you see what we saw and then for him to now jump right back into it. It's like, ooh, okay, I get it. Get you want to represent your country, but it's like, we need you. We need you badly. Because I really do. I think that the Lakers have a genuine shot right, to win a championship this season. I mean, Luka looks amazing. You're getting reports out of Slovenia, right? I mean, the coaching staff and everything are like, dude, this guy looks completely different. So, I mean, literally, his teammates are hyping him up. They said he's faster and jumps higher or jumps more. And this year, I expect him to be the best version of himself, right? So, like, I mean, you have all kinds of hype. We've seen him just shred opposing teams. Like, he's looking every bit the part. That his body transformation has brought the excitement and genuine, just like, oh, here we go, right? Like the hype, right? That goes into Luka this season. You're seeing every bit of it, right? And I don't want to. I do think that the Lakers have a shot to go on a real run here. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in basketball. I think they're going to have probably the best offense in all of basketball, right? Are there some concerns? Like, upgraded starting three, some bench concerns, stuff like that. Sure. But we also don't know if those aren't concerns, right? Like, what if Jared Vanderbilt shoots 36% from 3-point range this season, right? Like, that could solve our 3-and-D problem, right? What if DeAndre Ayton and Luka Doncic are the best two-man game in all of basketball? Last year it was Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren, right? What if, LeBron James, because he doesn't have to work as hard and he doesn't have to put the cape on as regularly, is able to just dominate this season. He's healthy come playoff time. Now you got a healthy Luka who's motivated, hungry, ready to go, having an MVP level season. LeBron James who's healthy, ready to go because now he doesn't have to be the guy, right? Like, as much as I love Anthony Davis, LeBron James had to be the guy quite often. He's not going to have to worry about that with Luka Doncic. It's still going to be games, still going to be moments, there's going to be times. Right? There's going to be, Luka gets the night off or something like that, and LeBron's going to have to carry more of the load, right? That's fine. It's part of it. Again, like Jake LaRavia. What if Jake LaRavia is that 3-and-D wing guy? You look at his defensive metrics, he's great at defending, 1 through 3, even 4s. Like 1 through 4 is really, the 5 spot is where he kind of has his struggles, but like 1 through 3 is very good at defending. Like, he could be our legit 3-and-D guy. Again, even the defense itself, I think, is a little overblown. Right? Is it concerning? Sure. But Lakers have a lot of defensive pieces. It's just not in the starting lineup, right? It's like, you look at the starting unit and assuming that it's, Luka, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, and DeAndre Ayton. It's like, where's the defense coming from? But, look, maybe if it's just serviceable, right? But we're like the best offense and the starting 5 is averaging like 90 points a game, right? Like, then I think the Lakers will be fine in that regard and they'll trickle in the defense. Because you have Marcus Smart, you have Jared Vanderbilt, Jake LaRavia, right? You have defensive, Gabe Vincent, you have defensive pieces and guys that can defend multiple positions, play multiple positions, right? Like, Lakers will be fine. It's just finding that balance. It's finding that cohesiveness. And then, once you get to the playoffs, right? I mean, we've seen these last few seasons in particular, it's all about matchups. It's all about, kind of hitting your strides at the right time. Lakers come in, they hit their strides at the right time. Right? I think they're going to be a top 3 seed at worst, maybe top 5, just because the West is so tight. And, you look at last year, like 3 through 8 was like decided by a game. Right, so, I do think it will be tight, but I do think the Lakers will handle business. I think Luka's going to have an incredible season. And yes, again, there are kind of questions and concerns about this Lakers team, like without a doubt. But that's every team, right? And there isn't a perfect team. There is no Kevin Durant with OKC with Golden State where you're like, dude, just give them no one's going to beat them. Just give them the trophy now, right? It's going to take the entire roster getting hurt in order for anybody to beat them, right? Like, there isn't that team. Even OKC was very beatable and probably should have. I mean, Denver should have beaten them, right? Like, and there aren't, even the teams that have improved, people pretend like the Lakers didn't improve at all. Like, the Lakers just stood pat, running it back with Jackson Hayes as their starting center. Right? Lakers have made as many moves this offseason as anybody, right? Like, and you look at teams like Houston, there's a ton of concerns with Houston. Like Houston's biggest problem last year was 3-point shooting and offense, period. Yes, they got Kevin Durant, which is going to help a ton, but you're still relying on Şengün to now become a 20-plus point a game guy. You're still looking to, how much more is Kevin Durant going to average than Jalen Green? Jalen Green, right? He's a guy who's averaging 24 games. He's going to be more consistent, right? So like the closer games and stuff like that, you're not gonna have to worry about like Jalen Green. Like Kevin Durant's probably not gonna have 9-point games, right? So like Kevin Durant will be more consistent than Jalen Green was, but like don't act like Jalen Green was just some bum every game and like averaging 10 points. Like no, and Dylan Brooks was really good for him and stuff like that, right? So Kevin Durant's gonna have to handle a lot of the workload offensively. You also got to keep in mind the guy has not been a model of health the last few years. You look at Denver. I love what Denver did. I actually think Denver might actually be the most improved, but I don't think their ceiling is as high without Michael Porter Jr. I think they'll be a little more consistent than they were, which could be more terrifying. But again, like they're not a perfect, they're very beatable, right? Like OKC hasn't made any significant changes, not that they should have, but they're not unbeatable. We saw it last year. What happens if Tyrese Halliburton doesn't get hurt? Like that might have been a very different series. We might be talking about this very differently in who won the championship, right? Point is, every team has what ifs going into the season. The only team you can argue that doesn't have a what if is OKC. Why? Because they won the NBA championship. The only reason I would put them in the what if category as well is because we haven't had a back-to-back championship winner since the the Golden State Warriors. There we go. Right? When they recently did the back-to-backs, right? And that was like 8 seasons ago now, right? So we've had a different contender every single year, right? I think the Lakers are going to be right there. I think they're going to be right in the mix. But we need a healthy Luka, right? We need Luka Doncic to be as healthy and play as many games as possible. I think, and I am very confident, that if he plays 65 games, he wins the MVP. Like, I am very confident in saying that. Right? Because I think he's going to just be on an absolute tear. He's good enough. I mean, every year he's in the conversation. I think if they can give it to anybody else not named Jokic or Giannis, I think that they'll do it. Also, I think that they would do it just for the narrative and story of like, Luka Doncic, oh, look, Dallas, he ends up leaving Dallas in the first full year he wins the MVP, right? And then that whole narrative and that whole story, I think that they would love to give a Laker an MVP. And on top of that, I think that the media and stuff would love to kind of have the narrative of like somebody on LeBron's team and completely ignore context that LeBron is like 70 years old, but be like, oh, well, look, LeBron, LeBron didn't win the MVP. One of his teammates did, da-da-da-da-da. Like, I can just see the whole narrative now. And I think the Lakers will be good enough, but we need Luka to be, even if he doesn't win the MVP, we need him to be MVP level. Like, don't underestimate, Luka's gone and done more with less. LeBron has gone and done more with less. LeBron James and Luka Doncic for sure has not played with a player nearly as good as LeBron James. And you could argue based on like how good Luka is and at the stage in which LeBron is, LeBron's never played with a guy like Luka Doncic, right? So they could be a match made in heaven, right? Like there's like the question of like, what would they look like if LeBron was in his prime? And on paper, they'd be probably the best duo ever. But in reality, I don't know if that would work, right? Because prime LeBron was just another beast, and he's better, and you probably want him in the hand. So then Luka's going to be the second option. I think that those two at this stage of their careers are a match made in heaven. It's just, can they figure it out enough to win a championship, right? There were moments last year where it looked good enough to where it's like, man, these two might be able to do something special, right? But there was also moments where it was a little awkward, a little clunky, a little like you go, I go type thing. So again, like, I do think that the Lakers have a chance, but we need Luka to be as healthy as possible. And I'm not going to lie, right? I definitely have my concerns going into the night and as it goes forward. I mean, I had my concerns regardless going into this because anytime you're playing, because you can't just tell Luka to go out there and coast. You can't go to Luka and be like, hey, buddy, hey, yeah, go play in Eurobasket, but like, why don't you give like 20%? Right? Like, it just doesn't work that way. When he's getting there and he's locked in and he's engaged and he's that competitor, there is no turning it off. There is no like, oh, well, I'm just going to go 50% tonight. No, he's going 110 miles an hour every moment of every game, right? And that's where the concern lies, right? He's not playing in some little pickup to where he's just kind of messing around. No, he wants to win the whole thing, right? He wants to win the Eurobasket and winning that cup and doing it for his country. So again, I get why Luka wants to do it. But as a Laker fan, right, it's a little kind of like, ooh, like, come on. Like, hey, why don't you just sit this one out? But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Look, I have a ton of faith in Luka Doncic, ton of faith in the Lakers. Look, Luka's top 3-4 player. If you want to put SGA over him this year, sure. right? Luka's top 3-4 player in all of basketball. Right, and I think he has the potential to do something special this year. But anyways, always, this is a discussion. I pass a question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.